reality queens. I am Rachel Reilly Villegas, at Rachel Reilly Villegas. You know me from all your favorite reality shows. I mean, honestly, like, I think I've been on all of them.
All of them. Every single one.
Yeah.
But you're known as the queen of Big Brother. Well, Traitors is like the most gigantic show ever, but yet your stans are still rabid, raging, crazy Big Brother fans that love you because you not only were on Big Brother, you won Big Brother, and you have a husband from Big Brothers. That's like bowling a turkey. I don't know.
Well, and your stans know you from interviewing some of the biggest names in reality television, from Mark Burnett to Allison Grodner. I feel like you've been on more red carpets than Tyra Banks, honestly, Jen.
I probably have, but my time from being on reality shows and walking them like the celebrity that Tyra Banks was to being on the other side, where I'm like, can I just ask you one question of like a real housewife who I know in real life, bizarrely? Yes, I have spent more time on red carpets. However, it was like with a recorder or a camera as a reporter than as being like that. Bobby, tell us about you.
Yeah, well, introduce yourself. Sorry, I'm like over speaking. I didn't mean to. But Bobby, you are known as I would say, podcast guy. You are now in charge of 10 podcasts editing, and you've been doing this forever.
Yeah.
So you take your introduction too.
Yeah, no, I'm Bobby Goodsby. I'm just happy to be here talking Big Brother with you guys and going over this latest episode and taking a break from editing. It's nice to have a moment just to relax and not have to worry about getting something posted for a minute.
Yeah, well, while you relax, I can't tell if I'm annoyed or intrigued or bored or happy or angry or excited from 1 minute to minute with this season of Big Brother.
I'm feeling all the feels with you, but I also think, Jen, that it's becoming, we could write a script to it. And that's when Big Brother for me gets to be like, okay, it's the end. We got 2 weeks left. There's this jumble at the end when you're like, you can start predicting. I know who's going to win the next HOH. I know who's going to go home. I know what's going to happen. So I think that for me, I am almost ready to kind of just get down to our final 3 to see what's going to happen. But we're still here. We're still going. We had a double eviction this week. We had so many ups and downs, twists and turns, veto using, all the things. Ainsley is evil, apparently. I don't know.
The president's watching her. And
right.
Yeah.
What's going on?
So, okay, we started the week with a McKenzie HOH, and we are beginning this new week with the McKenzie HOH. So let's quickly break down all the things that McKenzie did wrong. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. Or
it's true.
Chelsie did right. Let's break down from McKenzie to McKenzie, who won stuff and how we got here, Chelsie. And and just basically, should we just give Chelsie the money? At this point, should we just be like, you know what, here you go? And also, America's favorite players, probably Tucker or Angela, so just write the check for one of them, and we can all go home. Chemo has officially put me to sleep on the mattress, as Zingbot said. And if Chemo or Rubina win, I will I'll probably just laugh. That'd be very funny. But how did we get here? Rachel, Big Brother expert, reality queen Rachel, tell us how we got from McKenzie having the best opportunity, being such a good game player, starting to love her, starting to be like, oh my God, coming around. You and I both said it. Oh my God, we're coming around to McKenzie. She has such a shot, and now she's HOH. This is her big time. How did we get from that to now? I don't know about you, but I am like, oh, F McKenzie. I hope she goes out the door. She lost her shot. Wow. Even though she's HOH again.
This is the thing. So McKenzie had been building her resume since the beginning of the season. She's been doing a great job. She was target numero uno with Matt week 1. Like everyone were pairing them together. That was like her showmance. She was getting in trouble. From that point forward, she has managed to have people forget about that and make alliances, make friends, break friends, win competitions, get blood on your hands, do what you need to do. And then this McKenzie that we're seeing this week, really, and this past, like, I think we'll be seeing until the end, she's really letting someone else take over her game. It's just like, McKenzie's not making the moves. We're not, and it's not like it's not creative editing. People say, "Oh, it's creative editing." No, like
nope.
She's legitimately listening to another person on her HOH
and allowing this HOH person, basically. Chelsie
to use
took over McKenzie's HOH, told her exactly what she wanted to do for Chelsea's game. McKenzie thought, "Oh yeah, that could be good for my game," because A, she's putting way too much trust into Chelsie, and B, until Leah, who she's now, it was too late, and McKenzie, you could see, like, be like, "Oh, I got." Targets one of the only other people that could have helped her get this beast of a, mastermind, Chelsie, out of the house, who is the most likely winner, who the person you want to sit next to least. She decides to listen, just like very naively, but almost also like robotically, or like she was hypnotized by Chelsie, because she does really believe she has this alliance with Chelsie and Cam, but at the same time she's kind of in trouble because she's like besties with Rubina and Chemo. So she's like, "Oh, everybody hates Angela and Leah, let me go after them." And that is not how you make a power move. That's not how you make a boss bitch move. That's not how you get to the end. Leah was like one of the only people that was your friend. And then even after you do what you do by, like, putting her on the block because Chelsie convinces you to, don't give her any warning. Leah spells it out for you what's happening, and you're stuck, and you're still
this
at Chelsie,
is the
and
problem
you're not even
too.
mad at Chelsie.
Yeah, like Leah. So yes, Leah was a McKenzie person, but this is the problem. McKenzie is number 7 in a group of 3 duos. So she doesn't have a duo partner. She doesn't have anyone. She needed to grab someone and have someone, but instead she made a move really to get rid in one HOH, but also this week, this double eviction, which is a whole week of Big Brother, right? She allowed to have this move made where it was like, get rid of Angela, get rid of Leah, and that both of those moves, instead of having her own duo, now she's still in the same position where she's like, okay, we have Cam and Chelsie, and then we have Rubina and Chemo. So she's now still number 5 out.
Absolutely. She allowed Chelsie to manipulate her into letting her only 2 life rafts float right out that door on McKenzie's HOH first. And then, you go and you turn around and you're like, okay, they didn't know it was going to be a double eviction, but as soon as they do.
Wait, I have to make a point about this. This is the only time, I put this in the chat last night, the only time I can think of in Big Brother history when they told them about a double eviction before the vote, which makes me think that they were letting them know to, like, see if it would change the outcome of a vote. That's the only thing I can think. I'm not saying conspiracy theory, whatever, but like that would make sense happen.
Because they'd want to keep Angela. They wouldn't want it to be so boring. They'd want bigger moves to be made, like a hint, you may have some wiggle room to do something. It could be production trying to make the show more exciting, trying to keep Angela, trying to give people a chance to figure something else out, because everybody has been saying that we know what's going to happen next. That basically Chelsie is taking control of this game, and Chelsie is going to win unless somebody wakes up.
All right, so for me, this tweet explains it all. Rachel, you sent me this one. This week, Chelsie has got MJ to backdoor her own ally and Leah, got in as Chemo and Rubina's final 3, got Cam to officially commit to a final 2, secured final 2 with MJ, got Leah to apologize to her after she just got MJ to backdoor her. Like, you can't have a better week Like you're talking about, this is up there with the best gameplay we have seen in a few years, and we'll probably see, anytime soon, knowing how these, usually new players play. But she's
Yes.
playing like a seasoned vet, and I'm absolutely
Yes.
happy for her. Like, obviously, I have invested interest in certain people winning this game, and she's not one of them, but I gotta give it to her. Like, she is playing her ass off. She's doing a great job. She's knowing everyone in the house. And I wonder what part of that is some of these people are very, very young and maybe a little impressionable.
I'm like, do we give it to her, or do we also say these other people are being extremely naive and handing it to her? Because while I agree she's playing like a seasoned vet, it's because she's able to, because these other people are not making any moves or trusting everybody. They're not thinking ahead. They're very afraid to do anything big. They're not taking a shot when they have one. So yeah, Chelsie had like a goat style week, but I'm like, but look at her opponents.
Yeah.
Like her,
well, yes, but that's also a lot of Chelsie managing to get all the opponents that might go after her out. Like, look, she had a big hand in getting rid of Tucker. So I mean, if you look at it, it was a lot of Chelsie convincing Angela and then Angela convincing everyone, right? To get rid of Tucker.
I agree with that totally. And the T-Court thing, because she was making
and
T-Court,
like,
she wasn't going to vote against T-Court, and then her decision to get T-Court out. Yep. I do think that having a big hand in Tucker and the T-Court thing does make her look stronger than just everyone else being weaker.
Yeah. She's single-handedly taken out two of the biggest people. Yeah.
And then got one of the biggest competitors, like, competition-wise, and somebody who was looking like they were playing a very good social game in McKenzie, got her to do all of her bidding for her, like exactly the way she would have wanted it to. Then that happens. Then she busts in for the double eviction, wins HOH. So then you have Chelsie winning HOH. So she's not going home. And I almost forgot. So when they did the power of veto and Chemo won it, I forgot that Chelsie had won HOH and somehow thought like I was like, take Chelsie out. And then I was like, wait, he can't. And I was like, because Chelsie masterminded it. And I was like, oh.
Well, and then this is the other thing. Chelsie, okay, McKenzie and Chelsie now. Chelsie is going to use McKenzie's HOH this week as well to get out either Rubina or Chemo. And she's going to then, I guarantee, win next HOH and go after McKenzie, get McKenzie out Final Four. That's what I predict happening. I think if that doesn't happen, that is like bad on Chelsea's gameplay, but I think that Chelsie will win the next HOH or Cam will win and have Final Four. They'll get McKenzie out for sure.
Unless they're
Final Four, the only one that matters is who wins veto, right?
Yep.
Yes. I'm like, but let's say that, okay, this HOH.
I think that when it comes down to it, I think that we're going to either have a Chelsie win or an MJ win, or by any miracle, Rubina and Chemo Final 2 and one of those two win. Not saying they deserve it, just saying like those are the three options.
I was just going to say,
I see what you're saying, but there's no way because they're going to, this week, McKenzie has to go after Rubina and Chemo. She'll nominate them.
True.
Then let's pretend Rubina or Chemo win veto, right? Whatever. Miracle. Chemo's been winning stuff. Chemo can win. He can when he wants to.
Yeah.
So Chemo wins. Let's say Cam goes up. McKenzie puts up Cam because she's not going to put up Chelsie.
Yeah.
So then if McKenzie goes up,
McKenzie would have to break the tie.
Voting to keep. Sorry, Chemo is still voting to keep Rubina in the game, and Chelsie is voting out. Well, I'm guessing it would be if Cam was on. Chelsea is keeping Cam. Chemo is keeping Rubina. The decision comes down to McKenzie.
And McKenzie would be smart to then send Cam home to weaken Chelsie, but she would not do it. She's going to choose the other way because she thinks she's the trio that she's not in with Cam and Chelsie. And I'm starting to suspect that how Chelsie is being made to look a little crazy, like stalkerish, like she's in love with Cam and Cam's not reciprocating it, that maybe it's possible that he does kind of like her and has indicated he's into her, but has been like no showmance, no whatever. Like maybe that's possible that they do have some sort of vibe. And I'm not saying like that's the end game or why, but I just started to think like Chelsea's so smart. Like, why would her downfall? I know people are saying it's because she hasn't been in a lot of relationships, and because maybe she really likes Cam and she got jealous. I'm like, but maybe that whole thing was like fake. Like maybe he really was letting McKenzie like flirt with him too much, and
yeah,
I don't know.
it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, Cam is the perfect person to take to final 2.
Of course.
If you don't take Cam to final 2, you are like so dumb. You either take Rubina or Cam at this point. Like, McKenzie needs to take Rubina. I guess McKenzie could take Cam, but like at the end of the day, like you either take McKenzie or Rubina. Cam or Rubina, and Rubina is more risky because she has Chemo and T-Core in the jury, guaranteed jury votes. So you're going to want to take Cam. Cam has no guaranteed jury votes.
MJ has to realize that she like has to get rid of Chelsie, right? Like at what point does she realize
or she would have taken the shot. She would take the shot this week.
Like I get like you want to just get a step further, but you've got to take a shot. You got to see what this chick is doing. Like it's clear and obvious. Like I know she's like what 21, 22, but like.
But even then, I think it doesn't have to do with that. You're in that house and you make these alliances, and you think if you stick to your alliances that you're doing what you're supposed to do. Like I understand where she's coming from. Like I took Portia to the final 2, and that was like really risky for me. Looking back, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. But like, because Adam would have been a washout. Like nobody's voting for Adam versus Rachel. But then when you're in the game and you're in the house, you're like, okay, Chelsie and I are on the same level. Chelsie, she probably is thinking like she's done more than Chelsie, and she probably is thinking she has more friends than Chelsie. I mean,
I agree until Leah told her everything, and McKenzie seemed to realize. Like McKenzie was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah,
but then Chelsie turned it on Chemo.
I know, and then also on Leah and made Leah apologize, which again, insane.
Yeah,
but that's it. McKenzie still had the information and realized what happened. So even if somebody's trying to twist it, I think that's the issue. Is that once somebody tells you the information and you have your aha moment, I don't know how you let yourself get manipulated back into it and thinking this person's working for you, which is what's happening with McKenzie. And that's why she went from like me being like, wow, she's a great gamer, to now me being like, like, how could you possibly vote for her because all her moves aren't her own? And then now, if she doesn't almost take revenge, not for Leah, not for anyone else, but for what Chelsie did to her by putting Chelsie up, then it's like, I'm like, you shouldn't win Big Brother.
I mean, McKenzie probably shouldn't win Big Brother at this point. Like unless she gets rid of Chelsie, some point, if Chelsie and McKenzie are in final 2 together, Chelsie is beating her. Yeah. But like, if McKenzie gets rid of Chelsie, then okay, she'll win because she's the only other person up there that could win. If Chemo is up there with Cam, like what actually went wrong again in our lives? Because
here's the thing too. If MJ might actually be the front runner in the house. So let's be real. We saw Chemo talk about how she's the best player and that he wants to get her out. Maybe other people's perceptions are the same in the jury, is that MJ's running the show, winning, all these competitions and making these moves. They might be impressionable and be thinking, okay, MJ's the one running this game, not Chelsie. But us on the outside, we're able to see all the moves Chelsea's making, but they can't see that. So yes, she's playing a great game, but she's just not playing it full in front of everyone, which is her plan. But then she's got to get rid of MJ to have any chance to win.
Exactly. What you're saying is like, so when somebody goes back to the jury, they go, oh my God, you won't believe what's happening. McKenzie's running shit. Although Leah is going to go back there, and Leah likes to talk, and Quinn respects what she says. Maybe T-Core won't, but she'll go back there and be like, oh my God, can you believe what Chelsie did? And then describe in great detail for 24 hours straight every detail. She's a good memory too.
Do you think Leah is going to go back and say that this was Chelsea's idea? I think she's going to go back and say it was McKenzie.
I think so too.
I think she Oh, you think so? I think she would
I
go
think
back
it could
and say, "Oh,
go.
God,
I
but
think she'll
I
say
think
she has credit for
got
both.
played and just screwed her over." Sorry, Bobby, I missed that.
No, you're
Do you
good. I
think
think
she's
she's going to give both credit, but it really comes down to what she really feels. I think she sides more with MJ made this big move and got her out of the house. Like, I think it shows, hey, this was my friend, but I'm willing to backstab them for this, for the game because this is how I win the game. I think that shows up more than all the little moves Chelsea's made in the background.
Agreed.
Because Leah was
Agreed,
on the
because-
live feeds, though, telling McKenzie that she got played, that Chelsie played her, that Chelsie lied to her. Don't trust Chelsie. I can't believe you did that. And then, again, had another hour-long conversation, even when she knew she was going to go home. Like, Chelsie played you.
So, okay, so we know that McKenzie is HOH again this week. What do you think is going to happen? I think she is going to put Rubina and Chemo right on that block. Same thing that we got the week before. I think that's what's going to happen. And then if one of them wins veto, she's going to likely put Cam up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too. I think that's 100%.
Which would be unfortunate because she'll put Chemo and Rubina up. And if one of them wins veto, that's your chance. Then you put Chelsie up, you backdoor, or I guess last minute, 'cause it's not really a backdoor, like Chelsie. And then you have a chance. But do we think she's going to do it?
No.
No.
No, I think it would likely, I even think McKenzie would bring Chelsie to the final two. Chelsie will not.
No.
So this is the other question. So so we get rid of Rubina's out of the game.
Mhm.
We have the final four situation. What if Chemo is still in the house and because only one Rubina or Chemo goes next week. I think they go for I think they vote out Rubina over Chemo anyways, but we'll see. So let's say Chemo wins veto. He has the chance to cast the final eviction vote. Do we think he is evicting Chelsie or McKenzie? Assuming neither one of them are HOH.
What do you think? I think McKenzie.
Man, it's tough.
I think Chemo takes a shot at McKenzie too.
I think so too. Oh no, 100% he does, because he even said so in the episode. He even said in the episode he was going to take a shot at McKenzie. Yeah. I think on the outside, but we're all thinking about, hey, this is what he needs to do, but we're seeing something different on the show.
Yeah.
Well, but now look at this. Chemo's a fan. Chemo is, he does win stuff. He's been friends with T-Core, with Rubina. He has people in his corner. Let's say Chemo makes it to final three. And it's Chemo. Who are we thinking? Chemo, Chelsie, and Cam, final three.
Yeah.
So now what happens in that situation?
If Chemo takes out Chelsie, then, and he sits next
if Chemo takes out McKenzie, he's got that giant record of getting rid of McKenzie.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he has the opportunity where he says, well, I've stayed this whole game. I've been nominated the most. I have obviously T-Core and Rubina who are fighting for him in the jury. Again, does this jury comes down to T-Core's opinion?
100%. And I think that it really comes down to he has to win out. He has to, because in the final three, no one's taking him. Chelsie, Cam, they're taking each other all day. Chelsie and, pretty much anyone else. Chemo's got to win out. He has to win veto, because I think he's gone this week if he doesn't win veto. He has to basically survive final four, which is fine. It just comes down to veto anyways.
Everybody.
And then he has to win in final three. So Chemo, who's not necessarily known for winning these competitions, yes, he won veto yesterday. He's has to win out.
Competitions, though.
Yeah,
now he's won three vetoes and an HOH.
I guess it just all blends together. I don't know. Did he win an HOH?
No,
I thought he won one of the first HOHs, didn't he? Or did he just win a veto that first?
I think it's just veto. Oh, maybe it was AI Arena. It was AI Arena.
That's right.
So yes, he can, but
or the option if he doesn't win is Chelsie wins the next HOH or something, and she takes out McKenzie because she'd rather have a final three with Cam and Chemo than McKenzie even being there. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, I think McKenzie's days are numbered because she's been too much of a physical player and a threat to these people. Everyone knows, and I don't think they'll change it for any season. The first HOH for final 3 is always going to be either endurance or something like physical.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one is usually more of like a puzzle where it's like more mental.
Mm-hmm.
So they always do. There's always an opportunity you could win first or second HOH. But if you're in there with McKenzie, you don't want to play either one with her because she's just too good.
She could still win out. She could still win out easily because all she has to do now is, now that she's HOH this week, win the veto next week, which is all that matters. And then the following week, just win a competition. She has to win 2 competitions and she's in the end. Well, three competitions.
Is McKenzie the Janelle/Rachel of the new era?
No.
I mean, I would say she's doing really well and has the chance to basically control her own destiny based off of how she's done in the past. And look, she's just won pretty much back-to-back HOHs, so
I guess
she can do it.
New era are probably the key words there, because old era is like, no, you cannot be the Rachel or the Janelle of anything unless you are going to tell some people off and speak your mind and say what you think and and you know what I mean? Like, be like, whose house is this? Mine. But you're right. The new era people are more polite and they get along more. So like, yeah, I can agree now. I was like, no, but then I was like, wait, new era, true. Like, yes, it has things have changed a little bit.
She's the comp beast. She's definitely, I would argue that she is playing the game where she is vocal with people, not as outspoken as we used to be in the past, but she's vocal with people. She definitely lets people know what she's thinking. She's not like afraid of confrontation, but she doesn't get in fights, right? She's not like telling people like what's going to happen. This is her business. This is whatever. And I think she's played a really good game. So I would argue that she is probably one of the better contestants that we've seen in a long time that have made it this far, but we'll see. I mean, there's still like, the thing is like, there's not a lot of Big Brother, but there's still so much Big Brother because it just comes down to like, someone can win a veto and you're gone final 4. So, so we'll see what happens. Chelsie, again, like we've said, Chemo could win out, Chelsie could win out, McKenzie could win out. Like, who we're not talking about is Cam.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to McKenzie, that she excels really well in 2 of the 3 most important things when it comes to being a Big Brother player. One, she's great at the social. She's great at the physical and competitions. But where she lacks, and where I think a lot of people won't give her the full credit, is her strategic game. She lets her emotional get too much involved into her relationships with these people into the game. Yes, she got rid of Leah last week, but she was mind controlled essentially to do so. So yes, 2 of the 3 aspects she does really well in, but that one is really going to be a critical error for people to say in the new era, this newer age Big Brother, that she's an elite player.
Right. And I also think your point about crazy. Yeah, that is crazy. Number one, yes. But also, I think your point before I hadn't considered, Bobby, which is a really pivotal point, is what people's perception is of who's doing well and making good calls. It's like the viewers, it's except for America's player, really the jury is they're not getting live feeds, they're not getting all that, not at least this season. So it's going to be their perception of who did what and who was good at what. And I hadn't really thought of it that way. I thought that in my mind, everyone's going back and in real time reporting what happened, obviously with their biases and their anger. But I'm like, well, they don't get to see the little things that happen. So maybe they don't know just how much Chelsie is doing.
If Chelsie can talk. And I do think that in the end, when you are that person and you're explaining why you should win, people do think differently. Like, I wonder at the end of the day, because I feel like the jury roundtable, I think, is more important than the final speeches, and Brendan argues with me that nobody cares about jury roundtable because he thinks that when you go to jury roundtable, you've already have your mindset. I don't think that that's true. I think that at jury roundtable, people start to really think about like who is playing a better game and like what Big Brother means to them, like why they should, like, is it about comps? Is it about, and that's the other thing, like, do people care about strategic gameplay in Big Brother anymore? That is, I think, the question we need to
Like
pose to
Quinn
people.
does, people like that do, but I think you know what
But
comes
does
up a
he?
lot?
I
Maybe
mean,
he
he
says
says he does.
yeah, that's true. I think he would respect it, you know, and look for it. And I think Joseph's not in the jury, so it doesn't matter, but someone like him would, you know, but who we have left, I guess, is who we have to look at, and maybe they don't care as much about that. So that's a good
At this
point.
point in Big Brother, I don't see, even in the past 5 seasons, we haven't had strategic gamers. Like, tell me that Jag was a strategic game player. I mean, no offense to Jag, like, I'm not knocking his win, but he played the game, and he was good at like conforming to what was happening in the game, right? Like he was good at like winning when he needed to, you know, being social when he needed to, doing all the things, but like bringing who he needed to bring to the end. We just don't see a lot of like straight up strategic game players on Big Brother anymore, period. Like,
I would just say, like, I mean, yes, I agree with you. I'd say over the last 3 or 4 seasons, absolutely, that's been the case, that it's been more of a social player than a strategic player that has won the game. I still think there's an aspect of it that's very important to this game, and there are players that do value it as long as they can see where the gameplay is coming from. You look like a winner like Jackson, or even before that, Tyler season, I'm blanking on her name. Casey, thank you. You see people like that who I would say, even though Jackson is controversial, don't get me started on him, he did have very good strategy in basically convincing people. He basically lied and did what he had to do to get into people's heads at the very end to be able to win the game. You look at Casey, her and Tyler the whole way were strategic, were in an alliance and using strategy to move forward and got themselves to the final 2. So there is still an aspect, but I will say, and I will agree with you, over the last few years, it has been more of the social game than the strategic. I guess for me as a fan, I always relate more to the strategic than I do the social, even though I think both are very important. I just value those games more, but that's me as a fan, not me as a player in the house.
It's also generational. Look, Gen Z and the younger people, they value representation. That has come up more than the word strategy. I don't even know if I've heard the word strategy like once. Like, oh, she's playing a strategic game, and it was almost a pejorative. Like, oh, she's playing a strategic game. Like, it's a bad thing. And you know, Rabina yesterday mentioned representation. Kimo has mentioned it. Chelsea's mentioned it. So I do think that representation, you know, to the viewers, to the players, to this generation, to like the way the country is now starting to like kind of go, oh, people weren't represented. I think representation matters too. So that goes to final speeches, a jury roundtable now having more importance of people going, well, who had to fight harder or overcome more to get something, or who, you know, it opens up a bigger dialogue than just, I think that was completely right what you said too, you know, Bobby, before about the 3 aspects of Big Brother. But I think in like the new era, the social game one is kind of like maybe having like a 4th one emerge too, which is like deservedness, or maybe more like representation of people winning and different types of people emerging as something that's important to these players, and the players are the ones voting in the jury. So that's an interesting thing that also could come into play.
I mean, I would agree with that for the most part, but I don't think like they're going to look at that when it comes to picking a final winner, when they're thinking about giving someone that money. Like, I think they all say it and they care about it, but when it comes down to it, like, I think that they're still voting on who, like, overall gameplay. I just think that their gameplay, their version of overall gameplay has been skewed a lot more toward social relationships and who they're friends with and who they want to give the money to, instead of strategy and instead of like, I think they do put emphasis on comp wins, because we do hear them say like,
Yeah.
oh, well, this person won this competition and they got rid of this person and all that stuff, but I don't hear them say as much like, and we haven't seen a player as much. There's no Dr. Wills. Look, there's no like love him or hate him. There's no, Derek. There's no, we haven't seen games like Dan's in a long time. So it's like, there's not a lot, and there's no like Daniel Reyes's,
No.
And you don't really don't see your point, Rachel, when you played Traders, when it was like regulars versus gamers and reality stars, how much the regular people were very upset about people possibly wanting to be a trader or wanting to play a game or lying or wanting to lie.
Oh my God, it was so ridiculous. They wanted like kumbaya, and it's like, it's literally a game. Like, I got in trouble for saying it was a game, not even being a trader, and they were like, well, you look at it like it's a game. Like, yeah, because it's a game.
Literally a game.
It is a game. It literally is.
And I think people, like, I don't think that they see that, like, to your point, Jen, I don't think that they see that anymore as it's a game. But Big Brother, listen, Traders is totally different than Big Brother. You're living with these people for now 101 days, which probably changes the way that they view the strategy, because instead of you're being a strategic player and doing what you have to do, lying, backstabbing, this, that, and the other thing, when you stretch that out over 100 days, you're not doing that. Like, when you're on Survivor for 30 days and you lie to someone, you backstab someone, you don't have the same relationship as someone that you have lived with 24/7 for, and Survivor's different too. You're fighting the world of surviving, right? Whereas in Big Brother, you're not surviving. You're just living in a house with these people. It's a purely experimental social game where you are literally just living with them. So if you, after 101 days, 24/7, they feel like your family.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't think, and that's also, the game never used to be this long. Like, this is all new school. Like, this season is until October. Like, I don't think they've had an October season since, I mean, they did last season, but that was because of different reasons, the strikes.
Yeah.
But it's different. And so that's why I don't think we see as much people carrying a strategy. And people get mad about strategy too, because they're like, well, you lied to me. Like, why didn't Dan win? Because, people would say Dan like lied to all the people, so
there's it's funny because it's like the opposite of Survivor. Like, Survivor's gotten shorter and people value strategy more than anything, and then Big Brother has gotten longer and people value the social and emotional relationships more than anything. It's wild.
It is super wild. And I think we even saw that with Angela last night, where she was like bawling, crying because she's voted out. Like, I get it. I cried too when I got voted. Well, actually, I didn't cry when I got voted out the first time, but I understand her emotions. But by the same token, they're amplified times 10 because she's in there for so much longer. So, like, it is just every day in that house is basically like a month or something. It's insane. Like, just the way that it feels,
We actually have a clip of Angela. Let me play that real quick.
Love you. I love you, kid. I love you.
I love you so much.
Hey. And I would have taken his ass to the end, just so you know.
We got a little last taste of crazy Angela before she left. Yeah. Can we get a moment of silence for our fallen queen?
Oh my gosh.
Justice for Angela. I actually was really sad. I actually had gone from just being like amused by her, by truly wanting her to win, and was so bummed that she was actually so much closer to the answer and almost winning HOH, but she just went over. I was like, no, I was losing it. I know we have totally different opinions on that, but I just started to like kind of fall in love with Angela's crazy. But I was like, or is that because I missed the old era of Big Brother where like you either had to be strategic or completely out of your mind, Yeah.
I mean, and look, Angela, she came out from nowhere with that HOH, like almost winning that HOH. So it was very exciting. She made it exciting. That's why we like her, and that's why people hate her, because she gave us a emotional response. Like,
Yes.
Cam does not give anyone an emotional response. Like, I'm sure he's a nice
Yeah.
guy. I'd love to go get a beer with him, but like, no emotional response from Cam. But
Yeah.
Angela gives you emotional responses all the time. Sometimes they're roller coasters, but they're emotional responses.
That's
Yeah,
true.
and
I mean, there was.
Sorry, go ahead, Jen.
I was gonna say there was people like posting that they were in tears that Angela left, that they're
Yeah.
not watching anymore, and there was people celebrating and throwing Angela goodbye party. There are podcasts I never saw popping up just to have an Angela goodbye party. It was like random people were like Angela goodbye party on YouTube, and they weren't.
Yeah.
They had no shows, no episodes prior to that. I was like, whoa, she was polarizing and exciting. So
It was like she died. Like there were so
Yeah.
many like in memoriam things on Twitter, on Instagram. I'm like, man, if CBS doesn't bring Angela back, like she's like gold. Like she's going to 100% be on like 3 more shows at least.
She's 100% coming back. Now, my question is Angela, do they put her on Amazing Race? I don't see it. Do they put her on, like, I don't know.
She's not going on
is
Survivor.
She gonna go on the challenge?
No. She's coming back on Big Brother and maybe playing the Amazing Race with Quinn. I could see that.
See, I don't even see. That's the thing. I don't see. Like, she's not. I don't know that she's going to be successful on the Amazing. We want to see the meltdowns for sure.
Yeah.
But is she going to be? I just don't. I think that they do take that into consideration.
She won a lot of competitions. She did. She was HOH a bunch of times. She's even though she got taken off the block by vetoes the most, she also did win that. I don't remember if she won an AI.
Dude, what if they put her on the summit? Now that. Holy matoli, poor Angela would die on the summit.
Like Tucker's goes to the challenge. Tucker could go to the summit. But I can see a world where Angela is put on Amazing Race because they have lots of downtime. I mean, if we probably have both had friends on the Amazing Race. They go and they race, and then they're like in a hotel room because they can't film them when they're like stuck in the hotel room, and they'll be like, we were in there for like 18 hours. Couldn't leave. We're not allowed to even like watch TV. We just had to like sleep. So Angela, everyone's like at her age. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm approaching her age. Like, I'm not 50 yet. But
I know, but that is another good point. Everyone's like 51. Do you remember Remy and like what was the other guy's name? The older guy? Oh my gosh, I can't think of his name. The one that got in a fight with Dan.
Jerry?
Yeah. Jerry.
Yeah.
They were way older.
He was like 80. Jerry was like, Reilly was like at least like in her 60s, maybe. I don't even know. The wig made her look younger or whatever she had on the wrap. But like Jerry was like an old, retired, like 80-year-old military vet.
We have older people on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at all the people on Golden Bachelor, Angela.
I mean, honestly, I'd rather the cast skew older. I feel like all of our best seasons have had older crowds or older house guests. And you look at like season 10. Season 10 is considered one of the best seasons of all time, right? And you've got Jerry, you've got Libra, you've got people that are skewing older in this house, causing the drama and just giving us great TV. And I know that there's also other seasons that are great that have a younger cast. Absolutely. Rachel, your season skewed younger. There was definitely great winners and great seasons, but I feel like when you get these younger impressionable people that I'll bring it back a million times, I just feel like the gameplay is lacking, and I would rather see better gameplay than all this kumbaya bullshit, to be honest with you. Yeah, so that's how I feel about that situation. I do want to share with you guys one thing that I posted on Twitter. We've been hearing all season long about Cam's dogs in the crib, and we actually got to see them on Twitter, so I'm really excited for this. Here is a screenshot of all of his dogs in the crib. So we're happy to see a live look at the dogs in the crib.
And who he's been talking to.
Yeah, so they're just sitting there waiting.
Like a rescue out of his house.
Yeah.
Can I tell you that when there was the double eviction and Cam had to go back in, I held my breath waiting, almost praying that he would not forget to re-shout out his dogs in the crib. And when he did Jenn, that was like the highlight of the whole episode for me.
Wait, I am just thinking now because like I'm actually like he's talking about his real dogs, right? Like animal like barking dogs, because you can take dogs like, hey, my homies or whatever, but like
That's what I thought it was.
okay, I thought it was like his actual dogs, like his like actual like animals.
I think he's talking about his friends.
So I'm the crazy one. Well, because they're all like Tucker's like talks about it. He talked about his dog the whole time, and like they just all talk about like I miss you. Like I'm surprised they're not barking when they're saying their goodbye messages. At this
Rachel's
point.
just seeing this whole picture every single time he says that, thinking these poor dogs are left alone.
My head every time.
Definitely like his homies, but when I've been wanting to make this picture for so long, and I was like, you know what, screw it, let's just do it. And I put it up there.
Love it. I love it.
I was dead. I was like, that's the perfect picture. Just a bunch of dogs waiting for him at home.
And if we do find out that he literally has like, 10 actual like canines, dogs, or runs an animal shelter on the side, then that would be hilarious. But I'm assuming it's his friends, and
I'm like picturing his little puppy sitting there like barking at the TV.
It's the biggest plot twist in the season that really it is just a bunch of dogs with.
All his like puppies at home.
They've all been wanting food and water.
oh my
Homeward
God.
bound, they like make their way to the studio.
Digging a hole in the backyard of the Big Brother house together.
I think
My brain runs off of Disney. That is what it like legit. My brain runs off of Disney.
I love it so. I'm crying for that. Oh, that was so good. All right. Oh gosh, Rachel, I love it.
Great.
All right, so
Well, in
go
other
ahead.
reality TV news.
Yeah.
So this week we had a crazy week. So Jax Taylor goes to rehab for bipolar disorder. Anna Delvey, I pronounce her name wrong every time. She is voted off Dancing with the Stars, and it's a big controversy. Joan is falling in love in front of our eyes on The Golden Bachelorette already, which is crazy to me. And, like Survivor is survivoring it up for us on season 47. I mean, I'm obsessed.
So good.
Let's start with the Dancing with the Stars controversy, because I'm dying right now. All right. So this is my opinion, and it's just a personal opinion. I don't even think Anna should have been on the show. I think it's tacky. She's wearing an ankle monitor. It gives a bad representation to kids. And frankly, like that's not a star. A star in my head is someone with talent, or someone that has like achieved something. Like it could be like a Nobel Peace Prize winner. Like, why isn't Maya Angelou on Dancing with the Stars? That's a star.
Dead.
But like not a criminal, like an actual criminal. That is not a star for me. And then she has a bad attitude about the whole thing. First, she makes a joke out of it. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. We have to live with it. But then now she's like getting voted off. She's doing a bad job. She's not a great dancer anyways. And then she says, oh, our host who has been a professional dancer her whole life, who's been on tour, who is probably one of the biggest actual like celebrities, right? She asks her, what can you take away from the show? And she says, nothing.
Perfect. Chef's kiss.
No. Disgusting.
You know why I love it? 2 reasons. One, she knows she was placed on this show for a reason, because she knows that she got away with being a criminal and got placed on it because of her attitude, and because she was supposed to bring drama, and because people hate her. So she played into the character, which is all she really has left now, and gave them the type of answer you wouldn't, the villain answer, which I think is really what she has left. So that's one reason I liked it. But 2, you know why I liked it? Because I do think that they do exploit people. Now, while Anna, you're saying, has exploited people too, I feel like the Hollywood and reality television, while it's been good to me, has also been also just exploitative, and also has it to your point, been like, let's put on a criminal here to get attention and stir up drama and do whatever. So I feel like her answer was actually not even accidentally, but like serendipitously the most authentic answer you possibly could give.
I hated it.
They did put her on. They did. They basically, and her thing of like basically like, well, they just took me here to use me because I have a big name and I'm going to stir up controversy. So I really got nothing out of it besides that. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm like, good for you. Whether I like anything she's done before it, I kind of set aside for that moment and was like, you know what? She's not wrong.
But this is my thing. Like, there's a TV show called House of Villains for that reason. Like, put her on the House of Villains. Put her on the Traitors, where your whole job is to manipulate people. Put her on, okay, let me say that again, sorry, because I felt like it's a good point. Put her on the Traitors, because your whole job on the Traitors is to manipulate people. Put her on, any of these other celebrity shows. I could even see her on Celebrity Big Brother, but not Dancing with the Stars. Dancing with the Stars is a different caliber. Point.
It is so ridiculous that they put her on Dancing with the Stars rather than House of Villains, rather than Surreal Life, rather than like Celebrity Lockup, or I don't even know what, like our Celebrity Rehab type thing for personalities, rather
even
than
Traitors. Like, she would have been a great person. She's, has a name, whatever. I don't think she's like a celebrity, but like she's a criminal. Like, she's bottom line a criminal. We're glamorizing criminals now, which I do think in the media is a whole nother issue and a whole nother problem, because recently in the past, like since 2020, I mean, we don't have to get into elections or whatever, politics, but glamorizing criminals is not okay in my book. And at the end of the day, like, she is a criminal. She has an ankle monitor on her leg, and like, she's only known for being a criminal. So why are we doing anything with her in general? Like,
I agree, but that's where I think Dancing with the Stars got what they deserved by casting her and got her the answer they deserved from what she said. If they wanted to cast a criminal, I think you're absolutely right about that. Like, why Dancing with the Stars if her only celebrity is being a criminal? So what are they going to expect from her? And I think that that's one of the most honest things I've heard on television in a long time, and I appreciate it. So from the criminal, there's so many celebrities out there. So many stars are fake and pretending to be somebody. Look at everything going on with Diddy. Look at everything going on with the people that we have held to a high standard and thought were great, who turn out to be such villains. It's like, now we have a villain who's just gonna villain and says, I'm a villain, and also flatly just says it like it is. It's almost refreshing to have somebody be like, it's a scam. Everything's a scam. Everyone's bullshit. Everyone's using everyone. Open your eyes. I did it. They're doing it. Come on.
Yeah,
but I mean, like,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Rachel.
Bobby.
I was just gonna say, I feel like, as someone who doesn't normally watch Dancing with the Stars, but my wife watches it and made me watch this because of Anna Delvey and because of what she brought to Dancing with the Stars. And yes, 100%, it's a publicity stunt. They're doing it knowing she's not going anywhere in this competition. She's not winning. She's not getting past the first round, but they need eyes on the show. Like, over the last few years, the show still has a great audience, but it is dwindling like any other show would that's been on air for as long as it does. So they are using her to bring in the ratings and be controversial. So I have no problem with her saying what she said and doing what she did, because at the end of the day, it's only hurting her. She's scammed people in the past, so what does it matter that these big production companies are also scamming her? She's done a lot of bad shit to people too. So I have no compassion for her. And secondly, she did no favors for herself acting like that. If you're going to rebuild it, she hasn't changed. Nothing about her seems like she's changed. And if you go onto the show to try to rehabilitate your character and your persona in front of the audience and in front of America, then you need to go in there and say the right things. But when you act like kind of, prissy and have a little bit of a stuck-up attitude, people are going to be like, yeah, she's not any different. Like, let her go to jail. She's a criminal.
She's not. She furthermore, you have to play this fake ass game. Now, I would understand rehabilitating yourself in terms of like, oh, I stole and I, took stuff from people and that's not good. But on the other hand, calling out that the system itself is set up for that and the very people that you're stealing from, it's almost like it's not like she has a Robin Hood story, but she was somebody who did not come from much and then stole from the wealthy because of their own arrogance, ignorance, and their own obsession with wanting to be around people that they thought were people. She robbed people that let her because they wanted to be next to her because they thought she was an heiress with all this money. So it's just like, to me, the revelation of the social dynamics and the way what we do accept versus don't is so interesting and a little bit revealing here, because it's like, okay, all right, don't steal, don't take things from people. Yet so many of the wealthiest people, the billionaires, the corporations, politicians, all these people have so much money and are not giving it back and are taking it. Then we have her who basically comes along and does what's almost sanctioned in this country and written into, somehow gotten into our laws and our politics and into the way our pharma and food and life is run, and takes advantage of people that are mesmerized by power and money and wealth. And then it's like she's the only villain, but she wouldn't have been able to do it in the first place unless those people only respected money, power, and
But
wealth.
I think she's like a real life villain, which is the difference for me. It's
she
like,
might be.
this is not like a TV show where we're talking about Big Brother villains or, like, oh, whatever, like she's a great Richard Hatch. Like, no, this is like a real life, like, okay, Fair Play made a lie on Survivor about the most famous lie from Survivor ever told was when Fair Play said about his grandma, right? So like, this is the difference. He was doing that to gain sympathy and to win $1 million on a TV show. In real life, he's not lying to us every day about this, that, and the other thing, where she in real life has no problems lying, cheating, stealing, doing whatever she has to get ahead. Where if we continue to glamorize that, we're going to have a whole generation of people that think it's okay to do that. And this is the problem is that societies that allow that, they do tend to melt down. So this isn't like just a television mishap. I do agree they're taking advantage of her, taking advantage of all of us all the time. But the difference is like, in the aspect of entertainment, there's one where it's like, okay, this is for entertainment purposes. When it's real life, you have the kids that look up to this, and you have people that are not even kids that like are like, oh, well, she's getting away with it, now she's famous. Like, we need to set a better standard for ourselves as viewers and ourselves as just like, in general, humans, like the human race. We need to be setting a better standard for people.
I agree.
To allow, because it's a real life villain. It's like, I mean, there has to be some sort of standard that we set.
You know what? This has been going on for a long time too, though, with our athletes who have been like, I think the discussion, it didn't necessarily begin there, but I remember even being like in elementary school and hearing controversies about athletes that get arrested for things like, domestic abuse and other, for stealing and for other things, and then still get their, NFL or NBA or ML, baseball, whatever contract, and bad behavior and this and that, and our role models not being really who we think they are. And this conversation keeps coming back around. And I do agree. And I think that.
But again, it's like, this is the thing, Jen. If you make a mistake, I have made plenty. We've all seen 2010 Big Brother with Rachel. I have made plenty of mistakes. But let's put it this way. I learn from every mistake I make. I take that as a opportunity to better myself so that I can be a better human and contribute to this world. Like, when people look at Lindsay Lohan, I'm obsessed with her. She made every mistake in the book. Paris Hilton, same thing. But now, like, she has overcome, both of them have overcome all those mistakes and have become genuinely amazing role models. And they admit to like messing up. They admit to like, we've done this, but now Like, that's not who we have evolved into as people. People have to evolve and change. Whereas Anna is literally the same person she has always been and never takes responsibility. She's just like, well, I did it. Who cares? I'm going to do it again if I have to. And
I agree with
the
you in
problem.
terms of like her crimes, because I watched her interview with Z-Way. I've watched a bunch of her interviews about like the criminal stuff and about that. But when it comes to Dancing with the Stars, I fault Dancing with the Stars for doing exactly what she is correct that they did. They used her to get views because the show was dying off. Then they tried to make her look bad. And then she was like, I'm not going to make them look bad. I'm going to make myself look bad by kind of like pulling back the curtain and being like, no, I learned nothing. I don't care. You used me. So that's how it is. So I respected her answer because sometimes you need someone who's revealing. Maybe we do need a villain to show you that they're not going to play into this world of redemption. So I have a few friends who've written books. Some of them have been New York Times bestsellers and they've told their life story. They had to lie to get it published and put a button on it and say that either they had stopped doing the thing, recovered, become sober, had done this, these are major publishers. These are life stories. And even though the people who publish them, publishing houses, PR firms, these people have gone on to be on television, knew it wasn't true, they were like, oh no, you need to pretend you've redeemed yourself and have totally changed and totally learned. And you need to change the end of the book, which is still open-ended, or you're still struggling, or you're still doing this. And lie, the publisher is going to publish the lie not because the author wanted to. They have to put a button on it because we can't accept flawed people. We can only accept healed people back into like our society as good people. Now, I do agree with you that Anna is a little bit of an extreme because she doesn't seem to have any empathy. She does seem to have more like a psychopathy or sociopathy. So I do understand that. But I also think it's good that we get to see it because it reveals. I like looking in the mirror at who we are as a society. I like being like, oh my God, are we being blind? Are we celebrating these people? And she's just showing us what we're doing. So it is an interesting conversation piece. And I do totally see your point about like, why is she on Dancing with the Stars in the first place? Why is she a star? If she's
I fault them too. Like, they should have never put her on. And I do know that they did it for ratings. But again, it is like, comes back to my whole point, which is like, look, we as humans have flaws. People make mistakes. But like, if you can't grow from any failure or flaw, then you are not evolving as a human, or as a society, we're not evolving. We are seeing, like, with those people that lied and the publishers that lied, like, that's horrible to hear. But like, I think that they were doing that to put out an aspirational message because they want to.
That's what I don't like. It's bullshit. You have to think your aspirational people are healed. Like, I've been through a lot of trauma. I can't say I'm totally healed. So in order to be worthy and aspirational, I have to be healed. Fuck you.
No, and I don't think that a lot of people say that. And I think the point is like,
but they do.
They say they're still struggling with it.
They do. They might. Okay, sometimes to admit you still struggle with it, but you can't say you're actively still doing something that's like bad, naughty, or that you didn't heal, or that you didn't come around, or that you're not fighting the good fight for. Like, there's just something so fake about the way we package people and our heroes and our idols and our people that we allow redemption. The only people we allow redemption are people that say, I learned, I grew, I've changed. And I think half the time you don't even know if we really have. You don't know. People think they have. We think they have. Have you really? Have I? Have you, Rachel? Has any other person who's learned from stuff? We don't really know. Like, sometimes we are still not completely honest. Sometimes we are not the best person. Sometimes we still stab people in the back. Sometimes we do, and then you go on a reality show and say, I've learned, I don't do that anymore. I don't know if that's always true, but we have to pretend it's true to give people like this story. And I like breaking down and poking at that and going, are the stories we tell ourselves as a culture and a society now true, or all just bullshit? And I think it was just poetic to put her on this thing where she doesn't belong. Completely agree with everything you said about that, Rachel. You don't glorify a criminal and put her in Dancing with the Stars. So it showed the hypocrisy of the entertainment industry. Then it double showed it when they wanted her to be grateful for it and nice and pretend that she redeemed just to make us like her. She'd be lying.
Well, that's true. But then by the same token, I feel like I'm having an existential crisis right now, to be honest, Jen, because I understand what you're saying, but I mean, I don't know. Like, I know people do lie, cheat, steal, backstab, fake things to get ahead. But if we continue to allow that happening, I just don't see the evolution as a society. And it comes down to like, what is the purpose of our like journey here? Because we're here on a journey. And I feel in my heart that journey is to grow, because you wouldn't get older and wiser if you weren't here to grow. So the point of life is essentially to grow. We learn from other people's mistakes. We learn from, these things that we watch, like whatever you're saying, all these people that are doing bad things, we learn that those are not acceptable behaviors. And we are constantly learning. Even if you shield yourself from learning, you are constantly learning. Even with, social media, we are constantly seeing from 100,000 different directions how other people are living their journey and how we can make these journeys all better as a society. So it's like, I just don't want, and maybe it's me being a Disney character again, but I don't want to believe that is the end all, that is going to be how you get ahead in this world. Because I think learning, and I think moving forward with everything, like, I genuinely believe that you have to take every single piece of everything that you hear and learn and see, and everything that's put in front of you is put in front of you for a reason, so that you can experience it and take that piece of something on with you. So I feel like the fact that she just like throws these pieces to the side, it shows how immature of a human and how immature her soul is, right?
Yeah, like, how can we grow unless we go through that existential crisis of realizing that what
she's not allowing herself to grow.
Not her. So forget her. She's one individual.
Yeah.
There's a lot of influence out there. So you know what? I actually think putting her on this show accidentally, inadvertently, in Dancing with the Stars greed, and them wanting to basically use her, and then her saying, hey, it's all a charade, it's a mirage, I'm not going to play your game, and pretend, oh, I'm so sorry, when I'm not, may open people's eyes up to the fact that the only way you get ahead is to pretend that pretend you've changed. And that's why we're seeing so many reality shows now being spun off of, and news stories and things being spun off of social media people that were completely putting on a bullshit thing. Then they pretend to repent and you find out that they didn't. So like, I agree in the end with you that for the good of our humanity and society, like self-reflection and growth is crucial. But I don't know if we get there until our eyes are opened, and possibly that's by a smack of truth in the face from a villain who's not playing the game, who's showing you this is just a game.
And I think also, guys, I'm just going to jump in here real quick. There's two sides of society that it shows you exactly what society is, right? You've got the Disney angle. Like, people want to see these happy endings. They want to see it on their TV screen. They want to see the happy-go-lucky, perfect ending, all of that. And that's what we get with the Disney side. That's how people want to picture life. Then you get the reality TV side, where you go and you watch and you see these absolutely batshit people go crazy, lie, cheat, steal, because that is more the norm of our real world than the Disney side. What we want to see is this, but what we get is right here on our reality TV screen. That's why reality TV is so engaging, and it's never going to die. It's because you get shows like the Mormon Housewives, right? Or whatever it is. And you get shows like that where these people are off the wall. These people are crazy, but that is society. That is our norm. That is everyday life. I could go to work right now and I could tell you at least 3 or 4 people that are exactly like that. They're going to lie, cheat, and steal and do whatever they want to do to get ahead in the company or in life. It's everywhere around us. This is what we want. This is what we think society should be. But right here, reality TV, the real world, that's what we get. And I think that's where you got to draw the line. Excuse me. You got to draw the line between, you know, preconceived notion of what society should be and what life should be compared to what reality is. And maybe it's not like that for everybody, but in the real world, I think people hide a lot of the truths of what their reality is.
Amen. And that's what I'm trying to say. And I think to get to the place that I completely agree with Rachel of where we need to be, we need to get real about that.
I mean, I see it both points of view. We'll just leave it there.
All right, guys. So that's going to end it for us. Thank you so much for joining us here at the Reality After Show. This is our Big Brother content here at Reality Queens. You can find me at Goodsby Bobby on Twitter. Jen, where can people find you?
At Jenn Hoffman on Twitter or X, and Jenn Hoffman Hi everywhere else.
I'm at Rachel E. Reilly Villegas on Instagram, at Rachel Reilly Villegas on TikTok, and at Rachel E. Reilly on Twitter.
Awesome. And you guys can also follow our Patreon. It's at realitypatron.com. It's got all of the content you see here. Every single one of our shows is on there and commercial free. So check it out, realitypatron.com. And check us out on YouTube at After Show on YouTube, where you can see all of our past Big Brother content, as well as our Survivor Challenge, the Circle, what have you. It's all there and ready at your fingertips. So please give us a like, give us a sub, and we will see you guys next week. Thanks, guys.
Bye.